This is Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, sweeps to his right, gets to the 20. He's at the 30, needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline, breaks the third tackle, comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's down to the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hurst.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He dies. Touchdown, 49ers.
7-11's 27-yard line. 49ers into the backfield. Gets on third down. He will take it himself for first down. And more. Alex Smith is in. Touchdown.
His left hip. Third down. Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in the post. And it's good. Touchdown. Touchdown 49. It is second down. Ryan takes the snap. Goes to plant to the left side. It's Russell. Intercepted. The 49ers pick it. And Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for a touchdown. No greater redemption.
Kaepernick shoots it. Hold everybody. Colin Kaepernick. What a game. Touchdown.
Yeah. Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? The Nothing But Niners crew is back. And guys, it is Thursday, so you guys know you get a daytime show. And this is an episode that is long awaited. You guys have been asking for it over and over. Mike, you got to reach out. Mike, you got to reach out. We want to see him on this show. All right, guys. All right. Don't throw any panties at the stage or anything like that. Not yet, guys. Hold your horses, okay? But let me run through these formalities really quick, and then we're going to bring our guest in, okay? So if this is your first time here on the YouTube page, we want to thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Also, turn on your notifications so you know when we're doing videos like breaking news and stuff like that, okay? Give us a follow on some of our social media platforms. We have Twitter and Snapchat. That is Nothing But 9 ERS, the number 9, Nothing But 9 ERS. We also have Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitch, and those handles are Nothing But Niners. I'm your guy, 49ers Mike _NFL. And guys, we're going to be joined by none other than the man himself, my Jersey brother, man. Let me go ahead and bring him in here. My man, Jason Aponte. What's going on, Jason? How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me, man. This is a thrill, man. And, you guys are big. And, like before I really got aware of like what you guys were doing, it's funny. I used to hang out with Nick at Nuno's in Linden, 49ers bar. That's where we first linked. And that was before I ever got into any of the YouTube thing. Nick's a great guy. I love what you guys are doing over here. Happy to be here and appreciative, man. This is really fun for me.
Yeah, thank you so much for making some time, man. I know you were just on another show and everything. You're on the go, man. So your time is valuable and it's precious. So I want to thank you for just jumping on here, taking a couple of minutes, and we're going to run down a couple of things here. So we're going to get started with first getting to know who Jason is. Now, I say Jason Aponte. Is it Jason? How do you say your last name? Just to make sure I'm saying it right.
That works. I'm not really a stickler when it comes to that. Aponte doesn't really matter to me.
So, but how do you say it?
Aponte.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I was doing there was another startup that we were working with, right? And one of the guys' names, I'm going to feel like a jerk saying this. I can't remember what his first name was. But people would butcher it. He's like, oh, no, it's okay. And I said, hey, man, no. Like, you got to respect yourself. Make them get your name right, bro. Like, if they can't remember your name, how are they going to tell somebody about you?
It's true.
So, like, you got to make sure. But now yours, Aponte, I understand that's not that big of a difference, right? Mm-hmm. But this was his first name. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, you got to get some pride in here. Like, you can't do that, man. You got to sit here and let us know, who you are. Start, carry yourself like you already there, like you up there, So, it is what it is, but that's why I want to make sure I try to get people's last names correct also. Now, I want to start with who you are. All right. Now, are you from Jersey or you just live in Jersey?
So I've spent my entire life basically in Jersey. My father's from the Bronx. So it's all the same stuff. You know how it is, how close New York is. Being a lifelong Yankee fan, we spend a lot of time at Yankee Stadium, have family in the Bronx. But yeah, I'm Jersey, man. Hoboken, Jersey City, to be more precise, but more Hoboken than anything. I see Alonzo in here talking about the St. Anne's Feast. I know exactly what he's talking about. That's actually starting this weekend. It's the big festival in Hoboken. So yeah. Hoboken, New Jersey, for the most part, I would say.
All right, I like that. So I got to ask the question. I'm sure you've been asked a million times over, but for our audience and the people who may not know you, so you're Jason Aponte from New Jersey. Let them know what platforms you're on, where they can find you in your work, and then I'm going to ask you about how you got started here. So.
Yeah, so most of the time you can find me on Twitter, either tweeting a stupid meme or trying to at least sound smart about the 49ers. So that's usually where you can connect with me. I try to be as engaged on there as possible. You can go to my YouTube page, Jason Aponte. Got my sprint right option on there. My daily shows, which are going to be ramping up as we get closer to camp. And you guys can hit me on IG, japonte2103. But yeah, primarily Twitter and YouTube is where you can find my stuff. And you can find some of my articles on 49ersgoldmine.com.
Perfect. My man is getting it in over there. He's featured on a bunch of stuff and everything. So I'm proud of you, man. I love seeing the work, and you can ask the people in the chat, man. If you're from Jersey, you get my undying support. Like, I don't know, like Dante Johnson, I pound the table for my guy because he's from Jersey. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Muhammad Sanu, Jason, White. What's his first name? Kevin White. Yes, God, I don't know why I blanked on Kevin. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I pound the table for my people from Jersey. So it's going to definitely be the same with you, man. I like to let people know who our people are. I think so.
I appreciate that. Well, it's no, you got it.
No,
it's no, it's funny because a lot of the things that I got were pushback, being from Jersey, I see people saying stuff where they're like, oh, well, you can't really be a 49ers fan from there. And I was like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah. No, all the time. So we were doing this on YouTube for over a year, and I don't know how, but somebody found out Nick and I were both from Jersey. Like, oh, that's why y'all don't know shit. Y'all front runners. Y'all not really Niner fans. How you a Niner fan from Jersey? And I'm sitting here like, okay, that's cool. So that's going to be my question to you. Mm-hmm. How did you become a 49ers fan?
So like I said, my father's from the Bronx. The Yankees, you don't get a choice. It's my father grew up close to Yankee Stadium. You don't choose. That's in your blood, right? When it comes to football, it's actually a kind of weird story. So my father, he actually went to Indiana University around the time that Joe Montana went to Notre Dame. And the way that he would describe Joe Montana, and you know how religious Indiana is, was that Joe was bigger than Jesus. He was Jesus in cleats. So my father, he just watched, he watched him all the way to San Francisco. And then, I followed who my dad liked. And, there's pictures of me during those Super Bowls in the 80s running around in an oversized jersey. And I never left the team. I never did. So, for everybody who says front runner, okay, my father pulled up at the right time because Joe Montana was there. That's true. But for me, I saw a lot of sustained success in terms of getting to championship games. So one Super Bowl in my lifetime that I can remember in 1985. But I remember the bad stuff and I stuck through it. And being, Mike, being from Jersey, especially when you go to public school, when you're a 49er fan and the Giants beat you or the Giants are better than you, they're going to let you know all the time. They're going to let you know every single day. And, it's a lot of what I had to deal with. So stuck with them. And, that's something that, like, when I pick a team and that's my team, I stick with them the whole way. And I wouldn't have it any other way than to be a 49er fan.
Right. I feel you, man. I feel you. All right. So that's good to know. That is really, really good to know. So I'm going to ask you a couple of more personal questions, and then we're going to transition to talking about the team and stuff like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you're a family man over there. I've seen some of your tweets, some very heartfelt stuff that you've put out there and everything. What's the deal over there, man? Are you married? You got kids? You engaged? Like what's up? Because people are going to want to know these things. Yeah,
I'm married, and yes, I have my little girl Averly. She's my world. She's the reason that I draw breath. I think it's strange how a kid can change your entire outlook on life, right? You kind of feel like you're floating in this world without purpose, and then that little face looks at you, smiles at you, calls you daddy. You start to realize I have to protect this person with my life. I have to provide for this person, and it gives you purpose. And all the things that I do in terms of, all the work that I'm doing on YouTube and writing and everything I do, it's all to make sure that my daughter is given the things that I was never given, and not because, you know how it is, and not because it's something that our parents didn't want to give us. It's just because, when they tell us no to $100 sneakers, it's not because they don't want to. It's because it's just not in the budget. So I can give her everything that she needs, all the support that she needs. And, so I can live a long life, see her grow up and turn her into a great adult. So, I mean, that's really what it's all about. And that's really what motivates me every single day to continue to work.
Okay. Do you love Hawaii?
I don't. So all right. So the story with the shirt today was, all right. So when I started going on Grant's show, right, there was something that was floated out there on Twitter about, beat writers against bloggers, whatever. Fine. So like when I first went on the show, I started like rocking the suits like him, just to be funny, just to say, hey, listen, you're dressing for the job that you want, not the job that you have. Today, I had a hectic day where like literally had to drop my daughter off to my mother-in-law, had to get a haircut real quick. Came back here, had to jump on Grant's show, so I was looking for a collared shirt. I saw this one. I haven't worn it in a while. It is a little bit festive, but I am flying out to Cali next week, so I was trying to get the vacay vibes a little bit going a little bit earlier. So that's really what it was. And I thought that people would get a kick out of it. It's, like I just did the Croc show that we do, our fantasy show, and people were like, "Yo, give Andy Reid your shirt back," and it's good, man. I have a great sense of humor, and I love when people make jokes, so it's all good, man.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So with no further ado, I think we've got enough background information on my guy here. I'm not going to ask him for a social security number, guys, so you don't get all the information on Jason, okay? But we do have to get to a couple of things here concerning the 49ers. So we're going to start the show on a more solemn note here, and we're going to start up with a rest in peace to former 49ers position coach Greg Knapp here. And, this was just sad news. This guy, he's a year older than my mother. And so it really hits home when you start to think about stuff like that. It's like, and this was a bike accident. He was just riding his bike and, got hit and was unconscious immediately and never recovered. But he was surrounded by family and loved ones, his daughters. It's a sad thing to see and hear. But rest in peace to Greg Knapp, man. I don't know if you want to say any words on that or not.
Yeah, I do. It's unfortunate, man. And especially when you start to talk about the age, right? Because I'm up there, right? I'm 36. And, you start to think it's like, man, it's that close. And, like you said, just a little bit older than your mom, was going to become the passing game coordinator for the New York Jets. Robert Saleh brought him over. So he was about to start working with Zach Wilson and getting that offense going. So in terms of football, that's something that's kind of disappointing as well, too, because he was on the cusp of doing something great. But, when you're talking about, someone losing someone in their family, football kind of takes a back seat. And you really just feel for his family. And it's just a terrible situation all around. And, I'm sending nothing but positive energy over to his family. Absolutely.
Again, our sincerest condolences, prayers, and heartfelt thoughts go out to the Knapp family, okay? There's some more 49ers news on the brighter side. Now, the news broke yesterday, but the team decided to release the little photo shoot with the quill pin. The pin is in hand. Our guy is here, man. Now, let me ask you, Jason. We knew this was coming, right? We knew this was inevitable. Was the contract what you thought it was? Fred Warner signed today. The team dropped the pictures. What were your thoughts on it all?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely well earned. He's worth every single penny. I don't care what football nerd on Twitter tries to tell you that middle linebackers don't matter or anything like that. You're not talking about a middle linebacker. You're talking about a game changer. You're talking about a guy who not only covers tight ends, not only understands what he's looking at on offense, not only is the quarterback of the defense, but can cover guys like Marquise Brown in the slot, can cover guys like Cooper Kupp when necessary. Obviously, that's not something you want him to do, but that's the flexibility he gives you. Quiet leader with confidence, absolute heart and soul of this defense. 24 years old, locked up, and just a cornerstone. The 49ers have done a great job this offseason with their cornerstone players, and it was Kittle first, Williams, Warner, Trey Lance is going to be in camp soon. The 49ers are well set up with their core, and Fred Warner is absolutely worth every single penny, and he's going to be the highest paid linebacker until Darius Leonard signs his contract, and that's just how it goes in the NFL. But absolutely worth any penny. I don't understand why anybody would have anything bad to say about Fred Warner in any way, and he's just invaluable to what the defense does.
Yeah, he had his presser today. We won't go over that on the show because I want to get some of your thoughts on some other things. But it was a fun watch. He's a consummate professional, man.
Yep.
I mean, just nonstop professionalism from this guy. And so I didn't say constant professional, I said consummate professional. But it is still constant also. This guy is always on his P's and Q's, well thought out, articulate. And even the way he spoke about his brother in the presser. It was something to see. So if you guys haven't seen that, make sure you guys go back and take a gander at that. It is well worth the time. Okay, so we got to Jason's story. I forgot to put this up when we were talking about you. My bad, man. So let's talk about you said that your experiences covering the Niners. How'd you get into it? How'd you get into covering the actual 49ers?
So it's funny because, my first love is fantasy football, and that's what I really started to do in terms of football content creation. Had a podcast, started doing it in that way. It didn't really catch on because I found myself talking to myself on a lot of streams just by myself, literally no co-host, and that's no fun. So what happened is I want to say when I first created my Twitter was around 2019, like right before the Super Bowl, right before the Rams-Patriots Super Bowl, I believe. So I made that. I started writing for some smaller blogs, just putting stuff out there, either fantasy football-wise or 49ers-wise. And then, I guess my big break was when I started writing for 49ers Web Zone. David Bonilla reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to start writing on here? Posted a few articles there. Started to gain a little bit of traction. But it's the weirdest thing, Mike. The pandemic is really what pushed me into overdrive. And I hate to say that because it's under such hard circumstances, right? Mm-hmm. It's hard to be excited about having success when people are suffering out there, not only, losing family members, but financially, a lot of people were hurt. But at that time, my full-time job at the time, being a Lids district manager, was kind of put on hold. Mm-hmm. And that's when I really started to say, okay, it's all about your outlook. You can take it as, okay, you're probably going to lose this job. What are you going to do? Or do you take it as a blessing because now you get to really lean in? And that's what I did. I started leaning in with the content, really started going to work with all those things and just trying to build my platform as best I can. I'll say the big break that I had, honestly, was going on Grant Cohn's show. Once that started to happen and I started to get my face out there a lot more because, you guys remember I started on Niners All Day for a little while, mm-hmm. Not sure what's going on with them or anything like that. And shout out to them because they were the first people who ever gave me any sort of platform to discuss this. But it was really when I started going on with Grant Weekly that things started to change as with the way that people were looking at me, the way people were viewing my content. So mm-hmm. That was the big break. And then, to be able to like you guys and Niners Nation and all the other big platforms, to have people, say, hey, we respect what you're doing and we want to collab. It's just all that stuff started to happen when I really leaned in. And it got to a point where now, I'm lucky enough where I can do content creation for a large portion and just stick to that. And so, like I said, it's a strange thing to be happy about, especially when you consider the circumstances, but it just is what it is. I probably wouldn't be wherever I'm at right now without the COVID outbreak. And that's sad to say, realistically.
Yeah, no, I get you, man. You search for and found that silver lining. So, you can never be sad about something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a good thing, and it happened for a reason, bro. I'm happy that you are where you are and where you're going to be.
Appreciate that.
Now, I got to ask you about your best experiences and your worst experiences while covering the Niners. I know it's a weird question, right? But mm-hmm. I've had some weird stuff happen to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm mm-hmm. alone on that, but it's not always sunshines and rainbows. So,
oh yeah.
What's one of your best experiences and what's one of your worst experiences?
My best experience was being able to be press credential for the Senior Bowl, and it's going to come right on the heels of the worst thing that's ever happened. So we're, being down there for the Senior Bowl, being able to speak with players, being press credential, being able to rub elbows with NFL insiders and all that, go to the game, talk to players after the game. Trey Lance was in the stands for that game, didn't even know. I found out after I left the stadium, and I was so upset. Now in hindsight, you missed a chance to talk to the number 3 pick. So yeah, but I guess the easiest thing to say, the worst thing that's ever happened was, when, we were the people kind of letting people know that, the 49ers were in on Stafford. When that didn't happen, a lot of people had a lot of negative things to say. And I have to be honest with you, that was a gut check point for me, right? Like, do you take your setback because it didn't happen no matter what we know now and no matter what it is, it didn't happen. So, right. People are always going to remember that. And people, I guess the saying, and it's very cliched, I don't know if my dad said it or I read it on a meme, but they'll whisper your success and scream your failures. And that's something that I'll tweet something today and somebody will be like, oh, like how Stafford was going to be on the 49ers and literally have nothing to do with that. So it's something that I'm literally dealing with day to day. But, you can take that as, okay, I'm going to stop shooting or I'm just going to push through it. And I'm glad that I was around a lot of people at that time in Mobile when all that happened, because it gave me a lot of good advice of, okay, the 36-hour rule. Mm-hmm. It's going to be bad for 12. be bad for 24. By the 36th hour, there's something else that people are going to be complaining about, and they'll just move right on. And I'm glad that I did because, yeah, you know what? You swing and miss on that one, but hey, it is what it is, and it really, in hindsight and in the larger picture, it didn't really do me any damage because I've continued to progress. So, but yes, that was a tough time to see people saying so many hurtful things, and just, you know, you take it as people are miserable, and that's it, you know, and then there's nothing you can really do about it. So
misery loves company, man. You know, they want to drag people down with them, but you can't let that happen to you. But, you know, it's weird because I would think, well, I refuse to be beat. So if I were in that situation, the specific one that you're talking about, look at how many more people knew your name for some reason or another. You get what I'm saying? Like it really, really blew up. It was making NFL Network and stuff. You know what I mean? Like that was because of you guys, and your names were attached to it for better or worse. And the people are still here. You guys gained hundreds of followers off of that. You know what I mean? Like you got to take the good with the bad, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And
if
I think that
somebody off, you're not doing something right.
Right. And the best part is that I learned how the NFL media works as far as the way they phrase things. It's all phrasing. You just got to do it the right way. A lot of those guys, whenever they put, and we talk to those guys, and whenever they put things out there, they put them out with a hedge. They always hedge and everything as well. So
according to or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
We learned a lot. We learned a lot about how people phrase things, why people sometimes skirt the same criticisms that we got when they were the ones, literally the people that were tweeting the things that were kind of backing up what we were saying, like, but they were hedging it. But behind the scenes, like they're getting off the phone and they're coming to us and they're like, man, this deal's done, man. Like everybody knows it. Like, and we're just like, okay, well, if you guys know, then, you know, like, you know, that's what it is. But we learned a lot. When you're putting things out there, make sure that you have some sort of hedge in there so you don't put yourself out there just in case it doesn't blow up in your face. But it's a valuable lesson that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And I guarantee you that's never going to happen again unless I know for a fact what's going on.
Exactly. I hear you on that, man. I like that. Okay, so let's move forward now. The offseason came and went. You got the draft, you got free agency and all that stuff. I want to get your reflections on the offseason. So again, it's going to be a lot of you talking because these people know all of my takes, the good ones, the bad ones. And you know, one thing I want to tell you also, you know, you're talking about how people say, oh yeah, just like whatever happened. You said, listen, there's people on here who watch every single show. There's this one guy, and every opportunity he gets, he says something about Alfred Morris to me. Because when the Niners signed Alfred Morris, I went back and I was like, yo, he had his best year with Kyle. He might be all right. And man, he won't let me live it. You got to learn to take it as love. You know what I mean? Because they hold on to what you say. You know what I'm saying? And they keep coming back. So if they're there to say that negative thing, they're there. That's what it is. You got to take it for what it is. But the offseason is here, man. It's coming. Well, it's already came. We're about to get into training camp. But I want your reflections on the offseason. And you can be as specific or as general as you'd like to be, whether it be free agency, the draft. Was there a different quarterback that you wanted? Like, how'd you feel about the entire offseason? I know you already touched on it a little bit, saying that the Niners have done a good job of, you know, securing their cornerstones. What else are your takes from the offseason of this front office?
So in terms of quarterback, I think it's no secret that I wanted Justin Fields at 3. And, you know, I mean, I was very vocal about that, you know, and look, I'm very happy with Trey Lance. Very happy. I wanted it Fields or Lance, and I think all of us can agree that none of us wanted Mac. And I'm glad that so that's a win for all of us because we all sift through the bull crap and we were like, there's no way that's happening. All we did was just listen, use our brains and listen. That's it. It was very easy, right? So yes, I did want Justin Fields. That's the L I'm going to take. I still think, God, I hope this doesn't get me killed.
Don't say it.
Trey Lance is going to be great. Trey Lance is going to be great and amazing, and they can win Super Bowls with him. But I would be wrong if my evaluation that I had been going through the entire offseason into the draft process, I would be wrong to now reverse course and tell you guys that I think that Trey Lance is better than Justin Fields. I still don't. I'm sorry. Yep. But that doesn't mean the 49ers can't win without Trey or that they didn't make the right decision because who the hell am I? I'm just somebody who again, I don't want to reverse course. If I'm going to take an L, I'm going to lean into my L. Justin Fields could end up being nothing. And guess what? I'm going to have to hold that L. But it would be very wrong of me to come on here and just because I'm very happy with Trey Lance and that's the person that I wanted right behind Justin Fields to turn around and say, oh, yeah, Trey's better than Justin. No, that would be wrong. That would be a wrong process.
I've said that multiple times, my man. It's like, look, I'm happy we got Lance. I'm happy it wasn't whoever, but I still think Fields would have came in here and been ready week 1. I think, and I'll let you get back to your thoughts here. I think if Fields was the pick,
he'd be starting week 1.
And Jimmy
would have been gone.
All right. There you go. That's my thought process. I think the reason that Jimmy is still here is because they're not sure if Lance is going to be ready come week 1. He'll be ready at some point, but they're not rushing him to get ready. With Fields, I think there would have been a little bit more pressure because I think he's a little bit more pro ready. I know the style system and all that Lance played and everything, but I just think that Fields had bigger moments and against better defenses and so on and so forth. So, all right, but go ahead. Back to your thoughts on the rest of the offseason. Sorry.
And that would have been exactly what I would have said. The same thing. Justin Fields on the biggest stages, didn't flinch, not a bit at all. And that was exactly my thought process. But in terms of the offseason, it's funny, and this is another L that I'm going to take. Consider me one of the guys that said, you got to get Jimmy Garoppolo off this roster because how are we bringing back Trent, doing all these other things? Well, guess what? Parag Marat, my goodness, man. That's why, I know you saw that meme yesterday. That guy, I want to shake your hand. Yeah, that's it. I just look, how else can you explain this offseason when Trent Williams is back? You lock up Fred. You bring back Tart on a 1-year deal. You bring back Jason Verrett on a 1-year deal. You bring in Alex Mack. You get your number 3 pick. What else can be said about this offseason? And how could anybody not be excited? Basically, the only real losses for the 49ers, Kerry Hyder, who had a great year last year, a few other people, but nothing major. Nothing major. For all things considered, this offseason went as smooth as it possibly could. They have upgraded this line. I love the draft. Aaron Banks, I love it. That's going to be one of my favorite camp battles to keep an eye on to see if he takes over that right guard position right next to Mike McGlinchey. And Trey Sermon, I love it. Elijah Mitchell, I think, is great as well. But obviously the banner is Trey Lance, and I was very excited to see that. Listen, did I want Justin Fields? Yes. But you know what? Trey Lance, I'm fine. And I get exactly the vision. And also, if I could play a little conspiracy theory to your point about Justin Fields being the guy week 1, I think that when Kyle took Trey Lance, he kind of extended his clock a little bit more to make it work with Trey. No one really would want to force him to put Trey out there week 1. But if you get Justin in there, like you said, I kind of felt the same way that Justin puts him on the clock right away to make it work because people saw the same things that we saw. The guy he doesn't shy away from the moment. Big man. He's tough. That's the other thing. That's what I thought Kyle was going to target in Justin. Crack ribs, said he looked fella, he got hit by a bowling ball. Guess what? Smoked the number 1 pick. Trevor Lawrence, guess who beat you? Justin Fields. But yet, he's always the guy that's been pegged under him for some reason. We kind of know why that is. I'm not going to get into that. We know exactly why that is because he's been, since birth, Trevor Lawrence has been the golden child. Everybody thought it's going to be him. But that's the thing that I thought Kyle was going to really hone in on Justin Fields because he's tired of having quarterbacks that he has to keep replacing with backup quarterbacks. He needs somebody who can at least play through a little bit of pain and not only play well.
And, Kyle made this comment, man. I just knew it was Justin Fields when he said I went to all the draft sites and I bet who the pick was going to be. I put money on it, man.
Me too.
Kyle made this comment. He said, I want Lamar Jackson's legs with Drew Brees' IQ and arm. I'm like, my man, is that not Justin Fields? Like, come on, bro. But I do think this, though, after the dust settles and you get a little bit more time to think about everything, I settled on this. Even when I was hating on Lance, people will tell you I made no mistakes about it. I think Lance had the highest ceiling of any quarterback in this draft as long as he could be honed. But I also thought he had one of the lowest floors. If he got rushed out there, they pushed him out there too quickly, it could crash and burn quickly. And so I definitely thought that highest ceiling was here. And maybe that's what Kyle decided to go for. Maybe Kyle said, you know what? It's time for me to back up my opinions. If I can sit here and put together 3 different offenses for 3 different styles of quarterbacks every single year, week in and week out, then why can't I get my guy and put together an offense for him and make him be the guy, bring out that highest ceiling that I think that he has out there. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what I think Kyle thought there. So I'm with you on that too. It does buy him some more time. I'm the conspiracy theory king, man. That's what I do all day long. They know it. Man, I read body language to come up with stuff. They don't even have to say anything. I'm like, you see how he's sitting? Look at that. Right. You see how he's sitting?
And and it's funny you mentioned that quote. That quote right there, like when I was like, now I know it's not Mac Jones. It didn't make, and I was like, that literally means it. And then, but then there's still people. It's still Mac. You're gonna have to deal with it. Also, I think that what's really like this quarterback process is going to be talked about for years and years and years, and it's coming out little by little, right? Kyle goes on McVay's podcast. John is on the PFF podcast talking about they left Justin Fields pro day and they were drawing up plays for Trey Lance. That it was Trey the entire time from January. We're going to learn a lot about this process, right? Mm-hmm. And I think you're absolutely right, because I think a little bit of it was okay. I think Mike Shanahan really loved Mac. And you know what's funny is I think Kyle did too, because when you listen to that Sean McVay podcast, he was heaping praise still on Mac Jones. Like, yo, I think he's going to be great and everything as well too. But I also think that he took Trey Lance because he wants to like reset his clock for a little bit, but he does have the highest ceiling and the smarts. It's the smarts, man. The calling out the protections, the playing in the pro style offense, the no turnovers thing. I know that, you know, he had some drop picks, but the fact remains he didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't. And I think it's the smarts. And I think that Trey also has another thing that really can't be quantified with any sort of, you know, measurable or stat. It's like he walks in the room and he's got it. Like everybody's going to look at him and they believe in him right now. Like you listen to the way these guys are talking about him already. You heard George Kittle say something about, he's throwing a pass that I haven't seen here in a while. Like he's not trying to say that to downplay Jimmy Garoppolo. He's just talking from his heart. He's big enough, this guy. Yeah, that's it. So I really think that he has it. I really think that when he's ready to go, this offense is going to be very, very hard to stop just based on what they can run with the RPO and Debo flying by and attacking the four principles. Like it's just going to be a nightmare. Good. And then one more thing. Kyle Shanahan he got his ass kicked by Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. You're not going to compete with that with Mac Jones. Sorry. That's just not going to be how you beat them. And if you took Mac Jones, that would be I'm smarter than all you guys and watch me win. And I think that he really got tired of people trying to peg him as Kirk Cousins guy, like Kirk Cousins is his guy the entire time. That's why he was getting so frustrated, yelling about we're going to die on Sunday and all this other stuff like that. I get what he was trying to say, but you could tell he was clearly flustered during that process. He was tired of people pegging him as a Mac Jones guy. Yeah.
You know, damn. I had a response. No. You're good. I'm trying to think of what it was that you were saying. It's all good. It'll come back to me at some random time and I'll blurt it out like I have Tourette's or something. So don't, you have to excuse me when it happens, man. My bad.
No, you're good.
But I just felt like if it was Mac Jones, we would have stayed at 12. That's another thing too. From the moment we moved, you don't trade up to get somebody who's going to be there. I felt that way from day one. There was no way that you move up for him. Mac Jones was probably was the safest pick. Like he's programmable. He's going to be a robot. You go out there, you tell him what to do, and he's going to do just that. And nothing more, nothing less. But
and one more
I wanted.
Right. And one more thing, with everything that we just said, Mac Jones could be a fine pro. Like that, there's no reason to say that he won't be. He could be a fine pro, and I think that he will be a fine quarterback. It's just you don't move up to 3 for a fine quarterback. You go for the big swing home run, and that's what they did.
I know people have mixed opinions on Matt Ryan, but I think that's Mac Jones' ceiling.
That's great at 12.
Matt Ryan type quarterback. Yeah, I think that's a Matt Ryan type quarterback. So, it is what it is. All right, so I'm going to ask you some very specific questions here about the team here. I know you mentioned one of them already at the right guard position. What's your favorite camp battle that you're looking forward to? And I'm going to ask you about a couple of more after that.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say the quarterback one because you're going to bring that up, and that's fine. We can talk about that. But I'm really interested to figure out what this edge rusher situation is going to be on the other side of Nick Bosa, right? Samson Ebukam gets brought in. Love what he can bring to this team. What do we get from D Ford? And in terms of, it's so crucial to figure out those bookends on the edge because it affects so many other people on the defensive line. Javon Kinlaw can get those one-on-ones so he can progress. Eric Armstead could be put in a spot where he gets more one-on-ones so he can produce more. So, again, when people knock Eric Armstead wasn't signed to be the end-all, be-all guy. It's about him being in the middle of that line and being able to be moved around with both on the edge and with someone else on the other side creating mismatches. So I really believe that this edge competition and whoever is going to be taking more of this role is vital to the 49ers' success because we all know that when you have a great pass rush, secondary doesn't matter as much. And now it might not even be a stretch to say that, look, we all love Richard Sherman. Shout out to him and everything that he's going through, and hope he's doing a lot better. But Jason Verrett played at a level last year that Sherman really hasn't, because he's not really a man corner. So you're talking about a secondary probably being a little bit stronger. Jimmy Ward is in his bag fully, and it's about time that people are starting to put respect on his name. But when you're looking at the other edge position, that is so vital, because it's such a cascading effect on Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, the rest of this line, and the way that they're going to, rotate on the D-line. So I'm very interested to figure out if it's going to be Ebukam, if they're just going to show him at the line, drop him in the coverage, or if it's going to be a combination of things. So I'm really interested to figure out how that shakes out, because it has such a big effect on the defense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely going to be a big one there. So another camp battle I'm going to ask you about is who's going to be the starting corner, or no, not who's going to be. Actually, yes. I'm going to ask you who's going to be the starting corner opposite of Jason Verrett right now.
Emmanuel Mosley, and he's earned that. He definitely has. Look, I know you're a really big Spoon guy, and actually, this is the problem that I have with the cornerback room. Nothing to do with Emmanuel Mosley. It's just that the depth afterwards is now, like, it's almost funny. Spoon was almost like a luxury, right, to have him there, just in case one of those guys gets injured. You can play him, and he has a high ceiling, because when he is clicking, he was probably the best man corner on the team. Like, he literally was. Like, he was that good, especially down the stretch. So now that's gone. I know that they drafted Ambry Thomas, Lenore, Dante Johnson's there, those guys, but with the draft picks, those are question marks. We don't know what they're going to be bringing. They could come in and step in right away, but I'm a big proponent of what do I know? I know that Emmanuel Mosley has time in his system. I know that he's a very good number 2 solid cornerback, and this is a really good time for him to showcase all of those things, especially if Jason Verrett is healthy on the other side. I'm just going to be wondering what they're going to be doing with Verrett. Is he going to be shadowing, following people, or is he just going to stay on the side? It's going to be really interesting to figure all that out, because while I think Emmanuel Mosley is solid, I don't think that he's equipped, along with almost 300 other cornerbacks in the league, to stop a Devontae Adams, a Hopkins, those guys, because they're just in the class. Yeah, or like Stephon Diggs, like those guys. Like, those are guys that are in another league. So I think it is Emmanuel Mosley. He's earned that by being in the system, and he's got a real chance to prove himself.
And you're not concerned at all with him not being able to beat out Witherspoon or Mosley, or even Dante Johnson in the slot at the end of the year?
Well, K1's back. So, you're talking about last year.
Yeah. So at the end of the year last year, he was healthy, but only doing special teams. He was not out there. It was Spoon, and then on the inside, it was Dante Johnson.
Yeah.
So,
Dante Johnson has a lot of love in that locker room. I've spoken to players who love him. They love what he brings. And a lot of people want to make jokes about how he's always on the roster. Well, there's a reason. They trust him. And that's a big thing with Kyle. That's another reason that Spoon fell out of favor, right? It's like, once you get in the doghouse, you almost never come out. What I will give credit to Spoon on is they were able to go to more man-to-man because of Spoon when he finally got himself out of the doghouse. Like, you were literally able to do things that you weren't able to do before because of how well he was playing and that dynamic that he brought. So I'm not necessarily worried about it. I think that if I have a criticism of Coach, it is he falls in love with guys and they can never do any wrong. But when somebody who isn't like in his good graces does one thing wrong, they're banished. And that's the part that I kind of don't jive with, look, we love Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne drop a pass. He doesn't get taken out of the game. Dante Pettit drops a pass. You're out of here. You're gone. We don't even want to see you ever again. So, and that's just one example. But Kyle definitely has his guys, and he has his guys that he trusts. So that's what I would say to that.
Absolutely, man. 100% there. Okay. All right. Another camp battle position I want to ask you about, and then we'll move on to something else, because I don't – how much longer you got? I don't want to keep you for too long either.
You're good. I'm home alone, man. Let's rock.
Oh, okay. No kid. What?
Yeah.
How the heck did you – tell me the secret.
Mother-in-law, she's back from Florida. She's been dying to see the kid, and she's going to a water park with her tomorrow. So it was an easy move. Plus, with everything that I had going on today, there'd be no way for me to be able to do what I'm doing without her like running through here and be able to hear her. So yeah.
Did you hear that, babe? Tell your mom to step her game up. Y'all shouldn't be here. No, I'm playing. I'm kidding. I get myself in trouble on the show. I'm just kidding. I love my family. I'm happy they're all here. All right. Damn, what was that? Oh, I was going to ask you about another position, right? I think I said I was going to ask you about one more position battle here. And I'm not going to ask you about the quarterback until a different segment. That's another segment at another time. But I want to ask you about Oh, no. I want to ask you about Mike McGlinchey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mike McGlinchey is coming under a lot of scrutiny. The faithful are fed up with him. They want him gone. What are your thoughts on him when you watch him? And then what do you think he's going to bring to the table this year?
So he got his 5th-year option picked up, so that means he's good for this year. And I mean, obviously, when you take somebody with the 9th pick, you better keep him for the 5th year. Otherwise, you completely wasted that pick. But, look, a lot of the Mike McGlinchey struggles, they are valid. A lot of them are overblown, and let me explain. He's elite at what he does and what they brought him here to do, run block. When they brought him here because they knew he was going to be an elite run blocker. I think a lot of the fans' frustration is that he hasn't taken a step in pass pro. And then what happened this year was he would blow sacks at the biggest times, and it would be on a 3rd down, or it would be on the final drive, or like the Eagles game. I'll point to that one. The team is in the red zone. He misses a block, and Nick Mullins just floats a ball in the air because he's got a guy in his chest, and it turns into an interception that's lost points. That was the most frustrating game of the year. That one, they could have won that game 10 different times if they didn't just shoot themselves in the foot. So I think that Mike McGlinchey stuff, he does have to improve. He said it himself. He's saying all the right things. He's put on the right amount of weight. This is a make or break time for him at camp right now. This is a very big make or break camp and season for him, because you will be a free agent next year. And if you play and you show your leap in pass pro, then you're going to get rewarded. If you don't, then people will start labeling you with that B word. And that's not the place that you want to be in. I'm interested to figure out what happens next to him. Do they bring in Banks, who went to Notre Dame as well? 2 gold donors next to each other. Do they finally make it work? Because you're only as good as the guy next to you in on the offensive line. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. The faithful are a little bit fed up. The media kind of gets on him, but he also did say, hey, I should be playing better, and hopefully he put on the weight and he's putting in the work. So we're going to see. This is a big, big season for Mike McGlinchey.
Absolutely. All right. And then the last thing I'm going to ask you about before we get to the next segment here is going to be that wide receiver 3. People are making a big deal of it. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's something that's even that we should be concerned with all the other weapons that we have out there now? Who do you think it should be? And do you think it's a big deal?
Well, all right. So in terms of how often the 49ers run 3 wide receiver sets, it was among the lowest. If it's not like the right before the last, like the like the bottom of the league. Okay. Now, how much of that has to do with having 3 wide receivers healthy at the same time to use, or how much does it have to do with philosophy, right? So when you think about 3 wide receivers, that's going to push somebody off the field, and who's that going to push off? It's going to push off the highest paid fullback in the league. That's not the really way that they want to do it. So, all right, who should be the wide receiver 3? That's a great question, Mike. I don't even know if I have an answer for that. Who do they want it to be? Who do they want it to be? Jalen Hurd.
All right.
They did not draft a receiver. They did not bring in anybody of consequence as far as like a big free agent name like Golden Tate, Dede Westbrook, none of those guys. Nobody was, there was plenty of people out there. But they want Jalen Hurd. Like right after the press conference, right after the draft and the press conference, they looked right in the camera and they said, Jalen Hurd is our guy. And remember, this isn't a guy that you found on the street. This is a 3rd-round pick. And I hate to bring this up. Terry McLaurin was on the board when you took Jalen Hurd.
That was my guy.
Yes.
Oh, man.
So, look, it's a chance that it could be Jalen Hurd. You just got to figure out where he slots in, positionless. Mm-hmm. And Kendrick Bourne as wide receiver 3, he's not really a wide receiver 3 because Debo was hurt. Ayuk was hurt. He actually played a lot more. So It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. So right now, it looks like the leader in the clubhouse so far is Mohamed Sanu. And that's good, right? Because he has experience in this scheme, and he understands. And Kyle loves the idea of a big slot, which is why I think it's Jalen Hurd. I really think that they're going to force that to make that happen. The big slot thing is something that he's been clamoring for. So it's going to be really interesting to shake out who it should be. I don't know. Who they want it to be is Jalen Hurd. That's the best answer I could probably give you.
I think you surprised me a little bit here. I thought you were going to at least mention Richie James.
I have a controversial opinion on Richie James.
Should we save this for a later segment?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
All right. I don't know because I don't know how controversial it's going to be. I'm going to ask you to keep it real later. The name of this show is Keeping It Real with Jason Aponte. So I want that Jersey boy to come out of you. So if you guys have never interacted with a person from New Jersey, one thing, good or bad, that it's like a tag for Jersey people is that they tell you exactly what they feel. They tell you what's on their mind. It comes out sometimes abrasive and rough. And I want that in a later segment here. So I don't know if you want to do that now. If it's not going to be that harsh, then you can go ahead and present it now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that harsh. I mean, they just brought in Simba Webster, who's a punt return Specialist. River Craycraft has experience with that. So does Travis Benjamin. It seems like the 49ers are telling Richie James, dude, separate yourself and do something with the punt. The last punt return for a touchdown we have had in a long time, was from Ted Ginn, recently retired. Ted Ginn. That's the last punt return we've had for a touchdown. The last kick return
against the Seahawks.
Yes, the last kick return that we've had for a touchdown was Richie James against Seattle. So look, am I saying that Richie James is on the bubble? Starting to feel like that. I mean, Sherfield's a special teamer. River Craycraft can handle punts. Ayuk can handle punts. Even for a little while they had Jerick McKinnon returning kicks. I just think that it's a little bit understated how good it is to have a returner when I'll point to the Saints game in 2019. Was the guy's name Deontay Harris? He was literally flipping the field every time he got his hands on the ball.
Us, bro.
Right. And that's a great thing to have. I feel like the 49ers start every single drive on the 25. It's such a difference to start it on the 40, on the 50 with actual gains. So Richie James is going to have a lot to prove, and he has competition. They're not going to hand it to him. So he's either got to separate himself as a receiver in camp, or he's got to separate himself as a better kick returner, punt returner than these guys for him to not be on the bubble like I think he is.
Okay. All right. So I think we're going to go here with one more thing. And this is first time in NFL history the teams have 17 games as opposed to us 16. The league is still trying to fill its way out with the rules and all that they're going to implement this season. We don't know how it's all going to shake out, but I have to ask you how you think the team is going to do. The record prediction. And in this record prediction, I'm going to ask you to do what we did on our show and tell me when you think Trey Lance gets his first start. I know it's a lot, but I need a record prediction and when you think he gets his first start.
So does it matter that maybe I think he doesn't start this year?
No, you can say that too. Absolutely. That is great.
Okay. So
if that happens, that means we are okay.
All right.
Let me shut up.
So no, you're right, Mike. And that's why I've been asked on podcasts, people, right now when we're grasping for content, people are always trying to get something out of you, right? So someone asked me on a podcast, I can't remember, would you be disappointed if Jimmy Garoppolo started 17 games? And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, you want to hear why? That means the 49ers won 10, 11, 12 games. What's wrong with that? And what would you want not that to happen? So look, how can I predict when Trey Lance is going to start when my prediction is that Jimmy's going to start week 1? I really believe that. I really do. I believe that it's too hard to bench somebody with that salary and basically tank any sort of value, right? Yeah. Like who's going to want to trade for a guy who is has one season healthy, couldn't even win a job that he's been in the system for this long? I don't think that's how that's going to work. And again, I like the idea of Kyle resetting his clock, being able to kind of wait on Trey. If I had to predict, I'll take the easy way. It would be right after a bye week. Usually how they do with rookies,
okay.
But then again, the 49ers would have to be 1-3 or, let's say 3-1 in spite of how Jimmy played. And I don't see that happening. If they're winning games, it's because Jimmy Garoppolo is upright and playing well. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I understand fans want to see Trey Lance. That's good. I do too. But I want to see who's going to be the best out there for him. And if Jimmy Garoppolo is that guy, then that's fine. He's playing for his life as a starting quarterback this year. You have to hope that motivates him. And then, like I said, if you play 17 games, they're not going to stick with Jimmy Garoppolo for 17 games if he's bad. That's it. Right. Like it's not. So if he does play 17 games, it's because they're doing well. So my prediction is going to be 11-6. I had it 12-5. I'm starting to pull back a little bit because you're starting to see, this league. There's going to be a team on the schedule that we're looking at that we're like, oh, this is probably a W that are going to play over their heads this year or make a leap. And it's this league is full of parity. But I will say 11-5 with 11-6 with a division win.
Okay. I like that, man. That's a solid record, and that's with Jimmy playing all year long. I like that, man. That's really good. That means that you had never mind. I'll get to that. Yeah, you got it. All right. So here we go, man. This will be our last segment of the night. This is gonna be keeping it real. So what I want you to do here, man, is pretend that it's just us. We're at a bar. Yep. You're a couple of drinks in, and
let me take these comments off. Let me just go to the private chat so I don't see anything.
We're just gonna shoot the shit here, okay?
Okay.
Wait. Let me get this contribution up here. I'm sorry. I haven't read any contributions over here, so I'm gonna click them. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you all for the contributions and all the comments. I was trying to get them all on here earlier, and now I want to get to this. I want to focus on the questions that I'm going to ask him here. So I'm going to get away from all the comments and contributions, but thank you all for them very much. We really appreciate it, man. Thank you guys. All right, so Jason, man, we're at a bar. We're just shooting the shit here. We're at Nuno's. By the way, you know Nuno's is closing down?
No way.
Yeah, Nick was telling me that they're closing down. So I don't know if we're gonna get a chance to get to this season. Week one is the last one?
I don't know. I mean, I hope if they're open for week one, then I'm going because I'm going to be traveling to too many other games, and that's going to be my best shot because week 2 is in Philly, and we're out there. So week 1, man, I'm going to have to make it because I'm not going to Detroit. Like, nothing against Detroit, but I'm just like, I'm going to be traveling to so many other cities. I could wait on Detroit. I'm not trying to rap battle.
I've been to Detroit. It ain't all that.
That's what I was going to say. I'm not trying to battle Papa Doc and them. I'm good.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this, man. So when I say something to you, I want you to just keep it real. I'm going to ask a bunch of different questions. Some of them are going to be yes or no. Some of them are going to be like, what do you think about this? Okay. Jimmy Garoppolo aside, how long do you think it's going to take for Trey Lance to be ready to play against NFL competition?
I think he's ready now. And see, again, look, I think he's ready now, but it doesn't mean that Kyle want him to play. I think he's ready now, man. I really do. Look, the offense that he ran at NDSU, when you watch all those concepts, they're all Kyle Shanahan concepts. Same things. Talking about leak, we're talking about bootlegs, we're talking about a lot of the route trees that they ran, and they were talking about the RPOs that he ran with RG3. All that stuff is there, and it's right there for him. Honestly, the way that Kyle was able to slow the game down for RG3 and put him in advantageous spots, I believe that he would do the same for Trey Lance. Trey Lance is too smart to not pick it up that quickly. And think about this. And look, now we're shooting the shit. So I know for a fact that this Jimmy Garoppolo playbook is the slimmest playbook. If Kyle Shanahan's playbook is this big, this is how big Jimmy Garoppolo's is. So you telling me that Trey Lance can't figure that out? Come on, stop.
Well, okay. So then, all right.
So take back what I said.
No. I'm not going to actually take it back because I want us to figure this out because there's logic behind everything, right? So if you think that he could be ready right away, as early as week 1. And I know you said that, NFL politics and salary, draft picks and all that stuff. You got a second round pick, 12th highest paid quarterback in the league right now, whatever. So I get that, right? Does Jimmy, the last thing we knew about Jimmy Garoppolo when healthy was him being on the scout team. All right. At the end of the season, he was healthy enough to do some scout team work. John and Kyle both went to the podium and said that. It never suited up for a game, though. They kept him away. Had Jimmy gone out and looked good but lost some games or looked good and won some games, would he be here if Lance is still ready week 1? Like, are we just doing this to build up Jimmy's value?
Yes. I mean, it's look, you know what it is?
It's true.
You know what it is, Mike? Now we're going to keep it real. All right. I have never seen one quarterback get more credit for one season in the history of this game. I don't think ever. I don't understand how people in this fan base can look me in the face and tell me that you believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, all those guys who have played years. They have played years and shown you track record. Okay. Why is it that 5 games in 2017, and then 2019, all of a sudden, Jimmy Garoppolo is a top 12 quarterback? Look, if you believe that, go ahead. But I am a big proponent of track record. There is no way in my mind. Ryan Tannehill is coming off one of the most efficient years in his career. The only person who had a higher EPA than him was a guy named Aaron Rodgers. And I know that stats are for nerds and everything, but he ran that offense. And guess what they would have asked Jimmy Garoppolo to do the same way in the Titans? Hand the ball out to Derrick Henry, use play action, but guess what? He can't throw that thing down the field like Ryan Tannehill. Kirk Cousins throws for 4,000 yards every single year, and y'all gonna look me in the face and tell me that Jimmy Garoppolo is not better than Kirk Cousins? How on earth? Why? Look, I get it. Look. You know what you don't like about Kirk Cousins? He's a dork. That's what you don't like about him. And that's fine. He wears socks with thong slippers. You make fun of him all day. But he doesn't miss games. He throws for 4,000 yards in an offense that is not pass heavy. And look at what he did with Justin Jefferson last year. Justin Jefferson had a 72% catch rate because every single ball that was thrown at him down the field was on target. Listen, there's a difference between completing passes and being on target. Many of Jimmy Garoppolo's throws require George Kittle to slide, or maybe are a little bit lower and they bring them in. That's a completion, but that's not accuracy. And I think that you guys have it a little bit crossed up. It's about, what do I know? I know that Kirk Cousins throws for 4,000 yards every single year and plays every single game. I know that Ryan Tannehill earned himself a big contract. I know that Baker Mayfield had the best year of his career last year, and he's going to continue to grow in an offense that's still not pass heavy. But I don't understand why Jimmy Garoppolo gets so much praise for 1 year. Look, if you believe he's a top 15 quarterback, cool. I may not argue with that. But stop with this whole I'd rather have Jimmy Garoppolo over Kirk Cousins stuff. It's not smart. It's really not the way to look at things. Honestly, man. It's just say the guy even plays more games. That's it. Forget the stats. Give me the track record in 2 different teams, has actually really done well. I don't understand how it could be straight up just Jimmy Garoppolo is not better than Kirk Cousins or Ryan Tannehill. This doesn't make any sense.
I like it, man. And you censored yourself. You said that's just not smart. I heard it. I heard it. You did good, man.
I wanted to say the other word, but I don't like saying that word.
All right. So then the other thing I got to ask you about is this, man. You know, people are ready to move on from a lot of players that I don't think they should move on from. I think that some players were misused due to so many injuries and things like that. So I got to ask you about Eric Armstead, one of the highest salaries on the team. Some people say it's not deserved. Some people say it is what it is, whatever. What is your thought on Eric Armstead, his value to the team? Do you think he's overpaid? Just whatever it is, or do you? Well, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think that he's overpaid. I think I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, is that Eric Armstead is a complimentary piece. And that's no slight at Eric Armstead, right? It's just that when you lose Bosa, and DeForest Buckner, man, that's the problem, right? Because a lot of people have it in their head that Eric Armstead got the bag over DeForest Buckner and you're supposed to keep one or the other. I'm not certain that that's the way that works. That's not really what happened, because it was you keep Armstead, Jimmy Ward, and get Kinlaw, or you just keep Buckner and probably lose all 3 of those guys. Now we know how invaluable Jimmy Ward is, so you have to think about it in those terms. So, all right, is he overpaid? When you look at production, and if you want to just look at that, okay, maybe he's overpaid. But I really believe that when you put him in a position where you have everybody right, you have them in their right spots, Eric Armstead is still a very good football player, very good in run defense. It's just that when he's asked to be the main guy, to rush the passer, to be the guy to blow plays up, that's really not where he's at. And another thing is like the worst kept secret is he's probably in line for a restructure. They're going to figure out a way to bring that number down so they can bring some players in or bring people back. So when Eric Armstead's there and this defensive line is humming, then he's going to be fine. Do I think he's overpaid? If you want to just go with production, sure, you could probably say that, but I don't think that he deserves nearly as much hate as he's been getting, especially when you see that for a long time he'd be playing out of position. He's better on the inside. He's much better there than he is on the outside. So it's just, I think when you see that dollar figure, you expect a certain amount of production. And when you don't hit that, that's when people are going to start to say you're overpaid.
Okay. Jimmy Ward has been running his mouth a lot this offseason. What do you think?
I love it. He's in his bag, man. And that's what's good about it. That confidence is coming through because he's finally showing this team what he's trying to show this fan base. Jimmy Ward's journey from being like one of the most hated, dumped on players, to now even his most ardent, accuser and down player has to say that Jimmy Ward is a top safety in this league because of what he can do. And he's been putting it out there just by being on the field. Forget the turnovers thing. Did you guys ever realize that there's no turnovers because they don't throw the ball to him or because he's wiping something else out? Like, turnovers are not everything. Sometimes turnovers happen because people are picking on you and they throw at you a lot because they're not afraid of you and you make a play on the ball here and there. What happens when they don't throw the ball at you? When you're playing single high and the ball's not going your way and you're blanketing everything that's coming your way? What happens when they ask you to guard Gerald Everett and then Cooper Kupp on back-to-back plays? And guess what you do? You have 2 pass breakups on there. How many safeties do you know that can play like that? So I think Jimmy Ward right now is in his bag. He knows that he's kind of, jumped over this injury stuff, and he should be talking this way because now he's finally getting the praise that he deserves. Conspiracy theory also, how the national media frames things around players. Take a look at Jimmy Ward's PFF grades after Richard Sherman joins Chris Collinsworth's podcast. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Richard Sherman ran up in that office and was yelling at them about, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're looking at. And now Jimmy Ward gets all the praise from PFF, and his grades have been shooting up to the roof. That's why PFF grades do not hold water for me. They're very much subjective. I got a chance to work a little bit behind the scenes with them. And, when I wanted to try to get a job with them, I understand their process. It is very subjective. You rate plays from a scale of -2 to 2. Meaning the worst play on there, that if you want to grade that player is -2, you can give them a 0, which is nothing, or you can give them a 2 and anything in between, 1.5. So then they aggregate that score, they send it to the coaches and the scouts that they have on staff, and then they put that score together, and it's all subjective. So don't let those grades fool you. When people cite PFF grades to me, I kind of tend to dismiss it. I don't like dismissing people's arguments, but you have to know the process. It's subjective. So just take a look at that. That's my conspiracy theory. Take a look at his grades before, and then Richard Sherman went up in that office and was barking at people. All of a sudden now Jimmy Ward is one of the highest rated safeties.
Bro, I've been telling people that Jimmy Ward is one of the most valuable pieces on this team because not only can he play all 5 positions in the secondary, he plays them at a high level. And they're like, oh, no, but that's your love for Ward. I was like, okay, hey, I trust my eyes. I know what I see, you know, and that's the first thing I say when people tell me, well, PFF says, and I'm like, I don't care what PFF says. I trust my eyes. I'm not watching through the same lens that they're watching. Maybe they see something I don't see, for real. But I trust my eyes. My opinion is formed by me and only me. You know what I'm saying? So
right. Based on the way that they explained it to me when I was doing data collection for them, is they send you the film, and basically what data collection is I have to put players in the right spots for the graders. Meaning they'll give me the Michigan against Ohio State film, and I have to look. Okay, number 43 is in the middle of the field, but is he a MLB or is he an OLMB? Like based on where he's standing, and then you have to put it out there for them, right? And then when I got a chance to look at it, basically a -2 is the equivalent of like a red zone interception, right? The worst thing that you can put out there.
Right.
A 2 is like the David Tyree catch.
Yeah.
Like that high up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a 0 is if like you're not involved in the play. So like I said, it's very subjective. You know, you could think that he's impacting the play even though it's not getting thrown to him and maybe give him a higher grade. You could think that he did nothing, give him a 0 or give him something less. That's why it's very subjective. Those PFF grades it should be one part of the puzzle. PFF grade should be one part of the puzzle. It shouldn't be the end all be all. And I think that's where people got it messed up.
I like it. I'm going to let you go soon, man. We're here at the hour mark right now. So let me ask you just 3 more questions.
We're good, man.
I'm having fun. So, you know, again, we're at the bar, we're talking, and a guy comes up to you and says, man, the Niners aren't going to win a Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan. What is your response to that?
Man, get your ass out of my face, man. Look, you're talking to the guy who is a co-creator of OnlyShans. Yes, that's a shameless plug, but no, honestly, when you're talking about
that shit, man.
Yeah, but when you're talking about play design, when you're talking about play calling, you know, a lot of people want to point to, okay, I really enjoyed him going on the Sean McVay thing because that's him knocking back a few drinks and that's him keeping it real, right? So I really thought it was interesting when he went back and he talked about the Atlanta game. And he's like, man, we called the right plays. We were trying to go for the knockout blow. He's like, Julio makes that catch. And then, you know, he said that the next play that he called, which was the strip sack, was, okay, you got Julio Jones. You make sure you go to get him the ball. But guess what? Bill Belichick's on the other side, and the Patriots blanketed him. Once that read was taken away, it gave Hightower enough time to get him and get that sack out of there. And then that's when he realized, because he goes, I watched an hour of Tom Brady kick our ass up and down the field. He was like, I'm trying to end this game. He was like, all we had to do is really get in the field goal range, trying to end this game. So it's good that he went back and he looked at it like that. As far as the Super Bowl goes in 2019, I've debated back and forth about doing this on my channel because I just want to go through the fourth quarter again because I can assign blame to 10, 12 players and the coach as to why this game was lost.
And the coach?
It took an entire team to lose this game. An entire team to lose this game. An entire team. Everything had to go the way that it did for the Chiefs to win that game. You know, Joe Staley missed blocks. George Kittle missed blocks. Kendrick Bourne and Deebo Samuel ran wrong routes. Mike Person missed blocks. Kyle Shanahan called the play. Jimmy Garoppolo checks out into the right play, but misses the throw. It's not all one guy's fault. It took an entire team to blow that game, and I think that people need to understand that. So, look, when you look at where they're going, I absolutely am going to push my chips to the table because one thing is, Kyle Shanahan's not going anywhere. The York family loves him, and that doesn't matter if Jed does. The parents do, and he's going to be there for as long as they need. He has a longer leash than John Lynch. Kyle Shanahan is the golden boy. That's how he's viewed. So he will have as many shots as he needs. As long as he gets upright quarterback play, which we've seen, and good defense, like we saw last year. Even if he had that defense, that team goes in 2019, at least on a deep playoff run. Don't know if it's a Super Bowl because it was so dominant, and nobody will ever touch that 2019 defense. But if that defense can play like it did last year, even missing everybody, it was still a top 10 unit, and have a quarterback who's actually upright and plays and is able to put points on the board, why can't they? And now let's look at it like this. Let's even look at it this year in the NFC. Who exactly in the NFC besides our division are you exactly scared of? I don't think Aaron Rodgers is playing this year. The NFC East can get out. Nobody's scared about anybody. The Saints are done. The Vikings aren't going to be doing anything to anybody. Our main competition is everybody in this division. It's the Rams and it's the Seahawks. Arizona, nobody cares. Cliff Kingsbury's their coach. So, again, it's wide open. It is wide open. It's wide open. So why wouldn't you say that there's a chance for him to do it? If you want to say, okay, he blew this and that, cool. He did. You know, that's fine. He's part of the problem when it comes to that. But he's too young. He's going to have too many opportunities, especially now that he reset his clock with Trey Lance. There's no way that they're going to sit him with two years of Trey Lance and just say, all right, now you got to go. He's going to have the full 4 or 5 years with Trey to make sure that it happens. So there's no way that I don't think it does happen. I mean, at this point, I think that it's got to happen.
All right. And then this will probably be my last one. I got like 3 more, but I'll try to, like I said, I'm trying to keep it short. Your GM does not know what he's doing. Look at his draft history. What is your response to that at the bar?
I mean, there's misses on there. I wouldn't say that he doesn't know what he's doing. I think that they've done a great job. See, here's the problem is for every Fred Warner, George Kittle that you hit on, there's Dante Pettis, there's Solomon Thomas, those picks, right? So you could make the argument either way. I think what's really covered up what's happened with John Lynch is that he's hit on those other players. Toss in the fact that they got something from Raheem Mostert, who wasn't brought here by Kyle or John Lynch. He was brought here by Chip Kelly, which people don't remember. And they were able to do things. But look, the trade up for Pettis, that's bad. The Jalen Hurd thing. Look, it's the 3rd year, and I hate to play the game of who was on the board. But here's the problem, Mike. If you take Terry McLaurin instead of Jalen Hurd, and Terry McLaurin would have broken out the same exact way. I don't care what you say about Jimmy Garoppolo because, dude, Kyle Allen, Alex Smith, all these guys were his quarterback back-to-back 1,000 years. The kid's a baller. The problem is that when you get him, right, maybe you don't get Brandon Ayuk the next year. You go for a premium defensive player. So when you start missing, like when you miss on Pettis, you got to go back and double back for a Brandon Ayuk. You got to double back for other guys. So when you miss once, you start to try to recover year after year and try to go back. And that's the issue with missing. So has he had some misses? For sure. But, finding George Kittle, finding Fred Warner, Brandon Ayuk is, I think, every bit the part that he's been showing. And then look, I know it's not a draft pick, but trading for Trent Williams, that was genius.
Come on, man.
That was genius. So
that was probably the highlight of the draft, and that wasn't, like you said, a draft pick. Like, that was incredible. And we heard Staley talk about how he cried in the locker room and things like that after the Super Bowl loss. A couple of us felt like it was over. You know what I mean? And they did a great job of keeping that under wraps so that nobody knew that the Niners were looking into trading for, because as soon as Washington knew that, the cost of Trent shoots through the roof. And so they played it perfectly. What was it, a 3rd and a 5?
Yeah,
right?
That's nothing. And that's nothing. There's no 3rd rounder that you're going to find to be the best left tackle in the league. That's it.
No. So that is incredible to me, man. You lock up the left side of your line, highest paid guy, best left tackle in the league again. Like, come on. Like, that was very much worth it. So, Jason, man, you've been a great sport. I want to thank you for jumping on here, man. I know you said you got the night to yourself. Go enjoy your time alone. I don't know if you drink during the week or not. If you do have a cold. Oh, let me. What is your drink of choice?
Oh, all right. So I was a big, craft beer guy. Try to find as much, on craft beers and things like that. I've kind of been transitioning to red wine. Maybe it's because I'm a little bit older, right? And I think that the buzz is something that's different. Like you can have a glass of wine and feel buzz, but never feel, especially if it's a really good wine, feel like you're floating. There's nothing wrong. Not that you're floating like you're out of control. Like, it's a good vibe. You can watch a movie, you can throw on some smooth music and really vibe out. With the craft beer, sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit bloated. It's like a lot. It's like right here with the red wine, you can sip it, have it warm. And, now that I'm getting a little bit closer to 40, got to start to transition a little bit more into more classy stuff. So I think the red wine is my new stuff. And I'm just trying to learn more about, where it's sent out from and the age and all that stuff. So I'm just trying to get better with that. But yeah, and if it is hard liquor, then it's like, back in the day when I was, how Jersey is, Hennessy, all that stuff was there. I haven't had Hennessy in years and years. So I actually would like to see what it would be like at 36 to have again. But I try to stick to clear, vodka, tequila. Tequila is really good. I'm in the Casamigos now. So yeah, and I try not to drink during the week, but man, you know how it is. Some days it's like, man, what? Screw this. Like even right now, like I might just go walk to the corner bar real quick, just go have a beer, come right back.
Exactly. All right, so I got a little Hennessy story for you. So after DMX is my favorite rapper. Okay, so after DMX died, I'm listening to all these different interviews, these not unreleased, but like really old interviews and new ones, and then Jay-Z, that clip goes around with him on the barbershop. On the shop, and he's talking about DMX's blood drink. And so I was like, yo, I heard this before. And I went and I found this old interview. Long story short, DMX used to drink Hennessy and Alizé mixed together.
Blood.
And it comes out this dark, deep red and everything, right? And so I was like, you know what? I don't drink either one of these, but I'm going to go get it. You can ask my wife. She's sitting right here. And I drank that stuff for a weekend, and it was not good. It was not good, man. Like, so I'm a Scotch guy, so I don't drink stuff with a lot of sugars. It's not sweet or anything like that. You know what I mean? But I did it for my man X. I did it for the whole weekend, and I would be completely fine if I never have Hennessy again in my life. Like,
I was thinking the same thing too, but like somebody was like trying to call me out and like, well, you ain't about it. And I'm like, man, don't take me back to them days, man. So I don't know, man. Am I built like that now? I don't know, but if I do it, I'm gonna do it home, just so I could like go right to bed at all. Like if everything bad happens.
Yeah, start feeling it too much. Like, you know what? Let me just tap out. I'm going to sleep.
Just go to bed. Yep.
That's right. The best place to do that is at home, man. I'm with you 100% on that. So, all right, man, Jason, I really, really appreciate it. So the last thing that we do on every show is final thoughts, closing thoughts. You can promote. I want you to do that. Promote anything that you're working on, where people can find you, apparel, all that kind of stuff. Promote. And if you have any final words for the faithful, if there's something that you want people to know about you that they may not know about you already, you know what I mean? The floor is yours to say whatever it is you want for however long you want.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on here, man. It's a big thrill. It was awesome chopping it up on here. It was a really fun episode. And I like the whole barbershop, keeping it real vibe sometimes, because, you try to always be, once I started to know that the players watch our shows, I started to like a little bit slow down a little bit. Once Jimmy Ward was on Grant's show talking about, I watch your podcast, I'm like, oh my God, like, thank God I've had nothing but good things to say about him, but yeah. So as far as follow me on Twitter at Jason Aponte 2103, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jason Aponte. It's the same way that you spell it. On Instagram, Aponte 2103. Yeah, but I guess the big thing is I'm flying out next week on Thursday to Cali, and we're like on the 1 yard line with being credentialed for camp. So it's pretty much, I don't want to say a done deal, but it's looking good. So hopefully I'll be able to give you guys content from there, articles and live streams and such. So it's going to be really interesting to see this camp battle play out and watch this Garoppolo and Lance thing, because this is what I'll tell the 49er fans. We are the center right now of the NFL because everyone else in the NFL is checking for Jimmy and Lance. What I want you guys to do right now on July 22nd, can we please wait for one camp report of actual battles before we start yelling at each other about whether Lance or Jimmy should start? With no new information, you guys are rehashing the same argument over and over, and it gets a little tedious. Trust me, there are so many more interesting stories going on with this team and other camp battles that you guys could be discussing with the same amount of enthusiasm, as opposed to just rehashing the same arguments for Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo and being on both sides of it. It's really gotten to a point where it's very toxic and people can't even have other opinions, and that's never what it needs to be. This should always be fun. This should always be considerate of other people's opinions, and this should always just be discourse, and that's it. And I feel like that's been lost. It's become a little bit more toxic than I want it to be, which is why on my show and on tweets, I never talk about Jimmy and Trey. That's how much more there is to talk about this team. So just let it play out. Let at least Jimmy have one bad practice and Trey have one practice before you start yelling in one direction or the other. Like, please, let's just wait. There's a lot of time, and there's a lot of time for this to unfold, especially since the NFL is going to be watching this, and they're going to be talking about it a lot. If you watch NFL Network, you watch ESPN, whatever it is, trust me, there's going to be daily reports the same way, and they're going to be debating it the same way. So just give it time. You'll have enough time to argue about it throughout the whole preseason.
Absolutely, man. So two things here. I want to say my closing remarks. I remember what I was going to say. You said you were the manager for Lids, right? The general manager.
No, district manager.
Yeah. District manager?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is the biggest size fitted Lids sells? Because I grew my locks out. Now, bro, there's no shame in my game. This is an 8.5. No, this is an 8. Mm-hmm. All my fitted to 8s, bro. Like, they're all, I can't hide it. My head was huge when I was born. It's still that way. They're all 8. So what is the biggest size lid fitted? I don't like snapbacks. What's the biggest size fitted I can find? Is there a place to get them specially ordered or something?
Yeah. So if you would have walked in, right, and I didn't know who you were, right, and I, usually I say, hey, what's your hair size? If you would have come in and say I need a fitted, I'd be like, bet you need an 8 right off the bat because of the dreads. That's the first thing that we go to. So in store, it's always 8. That's the highest that you're gonna find. There is a place for you to special order them. It's on the New Era site. You have to actually go down the New Era site for that. They have extra sizes. Like there's 8.25, 8.5. Though that's where you go and get them done. Lids doesn't have them. That's not how they work. But it's so special ordery that it has to go through New Era. I would check out their website so you could do it on there.
Let's go. You just ruined me, man. All right. And so my other final thought is going to be this, man. I want to tell the faithful to know your power. All right. So my message to everybody tonight is going to be this one, man. There was this kid who tweeted out a TikTok video about how Kyle Shanahan was overrated, and we blew him up. We blew this kid up. And you know, it was one of his most watched tweets or TikToks and everything. And he's back again. And you want to know why he's back again? Because we blew him up the first time. Mm-hmm. So when you come at the Niners fan base, we clap back. And this video that he's talking about is exactly that. He said that people said vile stuff, people attacked him, his mother saw it, and da-da-da. He's like trying to play the victim and all that. And this tweet is going around Twitter today. So what I'm going to tell you, faithful, is this: know your power. If there is someone out there that you think has a horrible take about your team, especially if they are outside of the faithful, guys, let it go. Because when you respond, you retweet, you give that stuff, you put more eyes on that tweet, on that content. That's all they want. Because let me tell you something: these computers don't know if you click it because you hate it or if you click it because you love it. Don't click it. Don't promote it. Don't give these guys eyes. Faithful, know your power. That is my final message. And with that power, y'all better show your man Jason some love. Go out there, follow, subscribe, wherever he is. Promote this one because he plugged it 1,000 times already. And guys, that is going to do it for us here tonight. We thank you all for rocking out with us and being here. As long as you all have Jason, again, you have been a wonderful, wonderful guest. I sincerely thank you for making time and taking time out of your day to be here, my man. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right.
You got it, Mike. I'm deeply appreciative, and I'm always respectful of people's time. And I always want to do this for everybody else because that's what I would do, you know, for you know, or that's what I would want someone else to do for me. So do unto others. I guess that's my final message.
There you go. That's going to be it, guys. Prepare for glory. Anticipate pain, but always remain faithful. We're out of here, guys. Peace.
Later.
We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. Hey, see, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure. If you looking to find us, we them nothing but Niners. Nothing but Niners. We nothing